please.
It is me. It
Secondi,
is me.
please.
Malia, back to you. Malia, back to you.
I'm saying, please add there are some people who I'm not able to add, so kindly add them. Thank you.
Malia have added them. Maria, remind me, the next speaker was IPA, right? IPA, you are already on speaker. Go on.
Okay. So do you know there's a street called Wabera Street in Nairobi? That is somebody who sacrificed his life for the sake of Kenya. I can never say anything about the Somali community because Somali community because nimeishi huko saidia wa Somalia. That's why I was asking Kirui because his accent almost looks like where I'm from. Na nimeishi huko saidia inahitaji huko saidia Mandera, Waziri, anything. Those guys were doing the same behavior that nyinyi mgwale mnajiita nyi real Kenyans. you're still doing it. When you bury a flag and it's not a military flag person, mkanyage flag hivi. Kwa nini mnaweka tribalism? Because I've been there bwana, nimeishi kwa miaka mingi sana. So alafu when you say saa zingine ati kuna kwanga Al-Shabaab, no, not all Somalis are Al-Shabaab ama ni hata nimeipata kuna kabila zile zetu zile zingine ziko Al-Shabaab, lakini they are not all Al-Shabaab. They are not all Al-Shabaab. So I have to be very honest. Another one that was all Al-Shabaab hapa hivi. No, let me tell you, because I have lived in this country called Kenya. Mimi nimeishi yote. That's why I was asking for that guy hapa hivi. I've lived in Turkana. That's why he was telling me there is something he was talking about. There is hii mambo ya banditry huko ni saidia huko Rift Valley. Ukienda huko saidia wako na issue zao. Ukienda saidia of course they can ban all women as witches. Ukienda huko saidia Nyanza, saidia Kisii, it can be banned. Yani iko culture miss. Lakini mimi nakutanga that guy never did anything wrong, as much as that we must condemn Somali community. Hata kuna huyo mwingine alikuwa anaitwa no, you cannot don't ever kuna huyo mwenye alikuwa anasema Farah Maalim, and I put a very good lecture here on one day. Peter mwenye alikuwa hapa hivi about how to deal with power. Whatever Farah Maalim was looking how if Kenya angeshika power angekuwa na deal naye. That is not how all Somalis were believing in. I mean, najua kitu ingine. I have believed with them. Uliza ule mwingine alikuwa anaitwa Ali nani huyo, the lady Ali, utajua kitengine mtaitwa Jarer ama mtaitwa Gurale, whichever it is. Lakini they don't mean really bad against your community. They mean to describe you. I have lived with them for a very long time, more than 15 years. I have lived within community. I'm not, but they have not even anywhere related to Somali. I have lived with them. Mpaka watakwambia leo watakuja inakaa hapa haitakuwa sawa. Mi najua wako na Gare, Degodia, Isako. I know all the tribe against all their tribes. Mtu aniambie kama sijui hiyo kitu, but they are Kenyans. Sasa ukisema huyo mtu because he was talking on a broken English, because he was talking broken in Kiswahili, mnajua huko wanakanga huko hota sana most of the time. Hata nilipata mzee mwingine he was giving me direction, hata kwa najua nilikuwa namuuliza ni wapi mpaka ikabidi akanipatia namba ya simu ndio nipate direction. They are good people, they don't mean bad. Sa ukiangalia in fact, that thing hapa hivi, I hope if you listen to the news, kuna msichana mwingine alitolewa kwa camp, akakuja kuolewa on a Kenyan Somali, then she got walimchoma na mattress, and that was not fair, because they using their Kenyan advantage to. In fact, this our country Kenya is the one that invited Somali to East African community, lakini bado inaweka regulation iko mali. So when you see most of the Somalis behaving like wanaweza kufanya kitu like the rest of the Kenya, they have learned from you, they know this is the Kenyan character, but never do anything against Somali. Useme we identify this is the Somali community imefanya hiki kitu. No. Even I have my friend hapa hivi, I'm very old enough. She's in the military. He is in the military. I learned there.
Kirev Pat, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, can you hear me?
Lakini hao makohost wangu hata waongelei tip Jalai. Kwani maji
Kirer, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yani, leo mlisema Mike ni watu wa Nairobi washipewe Mike, alafu watu wa ushago tutafikiwa baadaye. Wataenda, tutabaki na nyinyi ndio tujue kesho mtaongelesha nani. Shenzi nyinyi.
Acha nisalimie Pipita.
Add Japonji, please add for me. Kuna Waweru na ninashindwa add. Please add him. Kuna space.
All right. Sorry. Okay.
Sawa Malia. Kirer, go on. Sorry.
All right. Now, colonialization, I'm sure Otto von Bismarck is smiling at his grave, hearing us having this discussion into the wee hours of the night, because all these countries we are talking about is basically an invention. It's not. Japonji, do you want to tell me you're having this conversation because you are a nationalist? And then I will ask you, how old is Kenya? And then you will come back to me and say, okay, probably just over 100 years old. So is that really nationalism? Have you built enough nationalism to be a Kenyan? If it were not for colonization, what could you be right now? If I could throw that question on the reverse, what could you be potentially? Could you be calling yourself a Kenyan? Could there be a Somali? Could there be a Ugandan? So I think colonization worked. It was a master stroke. It kept us in these small match boxes that we keep fighting over, while the big boys are sitting on the table, consolidating how to feast on the big meal. You're fighting over breadcrumbs, and it's like rats fighting over leftovers. And the clever rat is of course winning in the rat world, not understanding that there's an elephant world outside there. There's a lion world outside there where people are feasting on surpluses. They're not fighting for breadcrumbs. That is my entry point here. Because before colonization, we didn't have countries. We didn't have in Africa. We had kingdoms. We had ethnic groups. You have frontiers. It was mainly ethnic. We had empires, the Great Zimbabwe, Ethiopian, Buganda. You had all the way to the Mali. All those are very solid empires. But as history has it, they all faded away eventually. To what we now became, very fragmented units that we cannot build any strength. We don't have a muscle at all. Potentially, the only muscle you have is fighting a Somali, and you're so proud of it. God help you. Are you going to fight yourself so weak that you cannot stand up now when the big enemy comes? When China comes, picking all of you like flies off the table, picking one by one, giving you an SGR here, building one a port in Maputo, building one, a road, sorry, I call the SGR to nowhere in Kenya, taking the port in Angola, Luanda. When the big ones come picking you up, you don't even see, you can't even realize because you're busy fighting over a young boy who stepped over a flag. That is basically your idea of nationalism or the grand gesture of things is that conversation. Then clearly we deserve to be colonized to the end of the world, to the end of it until Jesus or whoever comes first, right? If the planets are going to collide, because we can't seem to even understand where is the origin of all this, right? We are just in the moment. Now if Kenya is just less than just over 100 years old, because we're talking about 1920 here, we're in 2025, so that is basically 105 years old. I'm sure we'll find someone who is still alive, who is 100 years old, and we can ask them to give us stories of their parents who are now in the era where these borders did not exist. How did that look like? Were there this kind of conversations that we have at the moment, right? Where there were no countries, there wasn't now colonization, it wasn't there because it was only 1885, right? The Berlin Treaty, the scramble for Africa, actually is defined as the scramble for Africa, but as we have turned it into nationalism for Africa, it was a scramble from the guy who invented this. These old boundaries we are talking about. It was self-serving interest. It wasn't for your own interest, but somehow we have turned it into our own fight. I think it was Brian here who was mentioning the EU has collapsed their boundaries to a point you can live in one country for 5 years and you get citizenship. You go to Belgium, you're French, you get a Belgium citizenship. Their discussions are not on these barbed wire discussions you're talking about. Who's crossing? Who's jumping over the fences? You're like a school principal looking over high school kids over the weekend who jumped over the fence. That is how minimalistic our conversations are still, right? They're pulling together resources to become. You cannot. They can demand a price of a rose flower from a national farm, and they can pay any price they want, the EU bloc, trade bloc, because they're a massive market and they have the power to do that. You are at their mercy. But now, looking internally, we don't even see that, right? Ours is just basically it's baffling. It's totally baffling. How we are still really engrossed in those, And again, let's go with history a little bit. We used to have the Ottoman empires, the Mali empires, the Aksum, all those great empires before. They fell, right? But I'm sure during the Ottoman Empire, there was someone who was really going hard on protecting that empire with his whole life, right? He could kill just to make sure the empire was intact. We went through that. We came into these modern day boundaries. Do you want to tell me in the next 1,000 years, the discussion will still be Somali versus Kenya? Do you think so? Do you think these boundaries will still exist? Because history has shown us that there have been erosion over time. Even our own African kingdoms. I'm sure there was someone in the Buganda who was always, he was the biggest fighter with the next empire, but that was swept away by colonization and gave us this modernization at the moment. But now we're in an era whereby, digitalization, you'll find guys migrating all over the place globally now. Voting in Kenya, it's still a bit ethnic politics is there. Limited resources are here. I think someone was talking about leaching. That clearly speaks into that fear that we have about foreigners coming in. And are they really foreigners, right? If they were just living across the river Juba on the north, right? Are they? Do you really want to call them foreigners? And to what extent do you say the Somali next to Kenya is more Kenyan than the Somali who is farther away from the border of Kenya, right? Because it's one community, different clans potentially, right? But how do we differentiate that then? Right, they're hardworking people, yeah, because again, it's in their nature. They know how to pull resources together. They're industrious people. Those people are there. Who was it? It was Trump today who was speaking down on the mayor of London, right? Mr. Khan, telling him very soon he will have Sharia law in the UK. Very soon, that is fear mongering. That's fear mongering. It's not you're not speaking from a stand of objectivity. No, you're just fear mongering. You're fearing something that you actually don't know how it turn. I think it was someone was saying, I don't know, the lady from America might end up coming back to Somalia, come back to Kenya. She's a celebrated hero, and then you never know, one day there can be a president. Why not? Why can't they be presidents in Kenya? What's the harm in doing that? Okay, anyway, so all the presidents, the current president, how much is he helping you anyway? Right? That having someone else there is going to make you die. because we have our own fears. I mean, when Trump was talking about Sharia law, I'm saying, okay, yeah, potentially, a Kenyan will never say a Muslim will never be a president potentially, because we all, the the bait of Christianity was stronger than the bait of Islam. It's not that it's yours. It's not yours. It's just that, yeah, you basically went into one of the, it was a coin, and this is a side that was sold more to you, but it's the same thing. Either can actually be there, and there's no difference that makes you alive. You could have woken up on either side of it, right? So why can't we think about the entire world is going into big blocks, right? Bargaining power and all that. Our own Africa is being divided on the table, piece by bit, here and there. I mean, we come here and I hear conversations. We usually have conversations here. Oh yeah, what about the Sudan? Yeah, president. I don't know. The current president is helping UAE do this. Hold on. Are you sitting down and asking yourself, okay, so a small country like UAE is already having some regional influence in a country like Africa? Do you ask yourself such a question? Oh, there's just a tiny country with just a million natural people, right? Just a million people who are actually nationals are in a position now. Only a million people are giving trouble to almost a billion continent in the next 10 years. Do you ask yourself that question? No, we don't. Of course, we want to find the most relevant one, right? That is, it's hard to think. It's easy. Yeah, it's something we can, it rolls off the lips easily. Oh, it's about the government. It's about this. Yeah, I mean, how can a very tiny country, already just out of nowhere, a country formed in the 1972, just recently, barely, they don't have a unified country. They don't even have a military, for Christ's sake, right? How are they in a position to start controlling big countries? I mean, look at the landmass of Sudan. Sudan must be what, 10 times bigger than it. But how are they in a position to influence and destabilize such a country? We don't ask ourselves those questions. We just want to fight the small wars here and there, differentiation, right? My shoe is shiner than yours. Come on, you're all living in the ghetto. It doesn't matter how your shoe shines. It doesn't help you. Can we try coming out of this? Because all these conversations we are having, we are missing the forest for the trees. We are so engrossed in counting trees. Well, come on, can you fly up a little bit, 10 meters? You realize this forest is massive. Why were you so engrossed in 1, 2, 3, 7 trees, branches here and there? I want this shade. I don't want the other shade. The other shade is bigger. Come on, let's get out of this. There's a bigger picture out there. Stop these matchboxes we're putting ourselves into. That's why we're limiting our own potential. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that little ant that you put it on a white paper and you draw an imaginary line around it, a circle around it, and it will never cross a pen, yeah, just a writing on the paper. It will always circle itself to death inside that circle. It cannot get out because it cannot see anything else. It's just there. And I think we're pigeonholing the entire conversation into this. I mean, we were talking about East Africa integration. So where do we get to? So do we need 3 countries? What kind of integration is that? So yeah, so you are eating matoke, you are giving them tea. All right, great, good for you. Potentially more sugar, you're getting potentially maize. Come on, that's butter trade. That's nothing. Where are you exchanging the technical know? And let me tell you, the guys from Somalia, we have seen them. I mean, look at their work ethic. Look at them in government. Look at what they do. They don't get there by default. They just don't wake up in the morning and get there, right? Of course, our culture, yeah, we're parting Fridays. No, they just came from the mosque. They are going for enterprise, right? So again, they have a bit of an upper hand. Maybe religion has helped them as well, at least, because yeah, their tenets are a bit more lined, right? There's some things that has helped them as a culture, as a society, to get to where they are. Someone here was saying someone will get a Kenyan passport one day, go do something abroad, and then our passport index. Again, listen, I think Japonji also did talk about that passport index thing. Again, you are really playing into colonization in a spectacular manner. To a point, you even want to preach their gospel more than them. Right? You're saying, no, let's do this, let's conform because our passport is going to drop. What the hell with this passport? Where do you want to go to? You want to go to the moon? Eventually, yeah, you get there, what happens? Come on.
1
So that
minute.
passport, how is it going to help you? Yeah,
Kirar,
you
1
become number
minute.
1 on the list. How does it help you? It doesn't help you in any way. You are still in a shithole of a country, as Trump called it. It doesn't help you. Let's get out of these minimalistic topics that you want to pick out of it, right? Oh, let's do not do that because this is going to happen to us. Because no, it has been designed exactly to work like that, and you're really playing into the trap of it. Come on, stop it, guys. Thank you.
Go ahead, Abdallah.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Malia. I just wanted to highlight that we have Abdullah and Dr. Mofo and Mugambi who are still not spoken, and Sham as well. Malia.
Thank you. And if you can add Wawire. He has been trying to get through, but I don't know why I'm not able to add him. So, Abdallah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Malia, and everyone in the space. Okay, so first of all, I want to condemn whatever happened. And it is in individual things, but you sometimes find stereotypes happen, and a whole community is brought into it. Over 2 weeks ago, there were some ladies who stepped on the Kenyan flag, and iliongelea watu. Hata niliona comment ingine inasema it is just a cloth, but anyway, there has been an agenda, by the way. During Chan, here on X, I was in a conversation where most of the people were trying to profile Somalis as people who are supporting Morocco or other countries. And when you find there are some Kenyans who are supporting DRC Congo when they are playing Kenya, and most of them are not even Kushite. But when I try to ask this question, where are these Kenyans of Somali origin who are supporting Morocco? No one could say. So there was an agenda. It has always been, but these things, it's like it's like Maasai is in Tanzania. They're being evicted from Ngorongoro, and there are sometimes these officials of the government officials could tell them go back to Kenya. What are they coming to do in Kenya? They're being told go back to Kenya. Maasai is in Tanzania. So where are they going? The other thing, there was a time in 2020 when a Chinese was alipiga Mkenya kwa hoteli fulani. So we had I'm not a big fan of Uhuru's government, but they were actually responsive. What they did is they deported the 4 guys, and I think the perpetrators paid around 3 million to the victim. So what needs to be done is to identify these people because they are already there. DCI yenye inaweza fuata kila mtu hapa si awapate, and then return them back to their country. Lastly, on illegal immigrants, when you say illegal immigrants, Kenya has a refugee policy, and it gives prima facie status to countries like Somalia, Sudan, DRC Congo. Prima facie means that when these people come, when nationals of those countries come, they automatically get refugee status without interviews. So they are automatically, because of the situation of their own countries. For the longest time, it has been for Somalia. I don't know whether it is right now. For Sudan, South Sudan, I know it is active. So for the longest time, it has been. So when these people get automatic refugee status, they are not immigrants in any way. And you cannot deport them. You can only deport them for the acts that they did, like those ones. You can deport them. But you cannot say you deport all refugees. You cannot do, because Kenya has a refugee policy that says repatriation only happens voluntary, even when those countries are safer. So Kenya nilijieka kwa shida. There was a time when Uhuru tried in 2016, and UNHCR went to court, and it was impossible to do it. So as long as these refugees get refugee status, they are non-immigrants. You cannot deport them. They can only go voluntary. Secondly, you can deport them when there's a risk of terrorism or other things, but you cannot forcefully tell them to go back. So it is back to Kenya maybe to deny countries prima facie status on refugees, because There was a time I was DRS, and then there were even refugees from Uganda who are coming to Kenya because of the Shirika plan. And as long as they cross to Kenya, and mostly they are from this country, they get immediately refugee status. And when they get a refugee status, they are not immigrants in any way. They are not. That's the only thing I wanted to say. And thank you so much for the space. And back to you, Maria, Japonje, and Pipita.
Thank you. Thank you for the submission. Let's go to Otieno. Please, if you have requested the mic and you're not getting through, you can drop and come back. Go ahead,
Thank
Otieno.
you. Asante sana. Sijui nianze wapi. Jambo la kwanza.
Dr. Mofo huko amewakoseanga wapi Malia Davis?
Nini Pipita jamani?
Peter, hao ni
Okay,
watu
no,
hata tusikie wageni.
mkimsahau Dr. Mofo jamani, ni kama Kirer.
Atakuja after.
Nimerealize my last born wa show wanachukiwa sana hapa. Dr. Mofo na Kirer ni kama malast born wetu.
Hao ni wenyeji. Hao ni wenyeji. We are giving opportunity to wale waongeanga wakujagi kwa show ndio wakuje siku ingine.
I like your reasoning.
Sawa, wacha niendelee basi. Jambo la kwanza, mimi nitalaumu serikali yetu. Serikali ya Kenya ndio ilijiingiza kwa hizi shida zote ambazo tunapitia sai. Jambo la pili, chanzo ama tuseme jambo lingine limechangia sana pia ni ufisadi. Immigration, that is where corruption.
What happened to Otieno?
Unatusikia? Otieno ni kama
Ametoka.
kwa requested, amedrop. Na kuna watu wako kwa requested. Please Pipita assist kuleta hawa watu kwa speaker. Okay, let's go to Dr. Mofo.
I see old Edgar amejaribu ku request. I don't know if he's back.
It's like he's still on the request. Simoni.
Oh, I can see Otieno on speak. Otieno, if you can hear me, just unmute and go on. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Shetani ama sijini wananisikia au ndio wananifanyia jambo ama hapo kwa uhamiaji. Hapo pia umejaa ufisadi sana. Juzi si uliona yule kijana alikuwa anasemaje? Atika unataka pasipoti? Kuna vile nitakushughulikia hadi upate. Huu mwaka ndio tulipata mtu mwenye alikuja Kenya hadi akapata kitambulisho. Muethiopia alikuja hadi akaoa wanawake wawili hapa, akatoroka akaenda kwao. Hiyo inatuonyesha aje ufisadi inachangia sana. Illegal immigration, we must talk about it because we can't run away from these issues of illegal migration. These things are happening and it is becoming a problem to this country. We can't run away from it. There are many illegal migrants in this country and people are just assuming. Like I know there's a certain company where most of the workers came with to a visitor. They came as visitors, like people who came to tour this country. But after that, they didn't return to their country. They are working there and they are Indians and they are running a lot. Not that people from the government don't know, they know it. They know these things are happening and are happening because they are assuming or because they are cooperating with these people. If we don't solve these issues, one day it will be a bigger problem to this country. We can't have a country where just illegal migrants want to do whatever they want. I think it is high time for the government to start conducting research about illegal migrants, to start looking how people, the real Kenyans and people who are here legally also should be looked at. We want to know who are real Kenyans and who are here illegally and who are here legally. Inappropriately, like we can say, they are here, they followed the proper channel to get the required documents. These things are happening. I know very well. It is in public domain. There was a documentary, I think it was done by the Uncensored African. They are conducting, there are illegal Somalis in this country. They are conducting illegal businesses. They are illegal, many illegal people in this country, but people don't discuss about it. In Isle, there are some Somalis who have been assaulting other Kenyans, and people are just quiet. We talk, people talk, we discuss when it happened. Like the other time, we saw it. In Isli, they were beating someone because that guy only asked them to pave the way for him to pass. They were hawking on the road. Why are this happening? I don't say that they are good Somalians. Even in my family, one of my uncle married a Somali lady, but they are bad ones. So before it gets late, these black sheep must be fished out of these countries. We can't keep on pretending that, we are good. We are not good. And sometimes I sit down and realize, what if Trump was just doing the right thing for the safety of his country? Because we can't have a country where everyone want to come in and do whatever he or she wants and then walk out free. This is the country where even the foreigners come, buy land, come mine our natural resources and go take them to their own countries. And our people are suffering. This is the country where foreigners can come and even do whatever they want, do the business which our people should be doing. Hawking, things like hawking. In Tanzania, there is some business which you can't do. In South Africa, there are most of the countries in Africa, I'm seeing there are some business which you can't do there. Or kind of jobs which are only left for the people, indigenous people of that country. But here in Kenya, foreigners do whatever they want. Anything. And that is why most of the youth of this nation also are becoming more jobless, because of our jobs are being taken by foreigners. People don't want to discuss these things. There was a time I was applying for a certain job in the UK. Then when I applied, I was told that, if you are not a member of EU, you can't get this job. And there are some jobs even which, if you are not a citizen of UK, you can't get in the UK. But here in Kenya, what is happening? It is vice versa. Our government also must start protecting us. We must come up with the laws which are protecting the people of this country. But for those two young men who showed the country that we don't deserve, what I can say, they showed the country the middle finger. And I think the government should take action against them and they should be punished. I wonder why the DCI can't find them. If they can manage to even get those people in the interior parts of the country and abduct them, if that time they manage to get Albert in the interior part of Homa Bay, why can't they go for these guys who show the disrespect? Umenimute. So
1 minute.
Okay, thank you. To be precise, illegal migrants must be dealt. That case must be dealt with. Let us not assume and pretend. There are some things, if we pretend, maybe in future it will cost us. But before we reach there, let the government take action. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Mugambi. Mugambi, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. And it came earlier, but now I want to respond to some specific issues that have been raised, especially as I get deep into the topic. There's this issue that someone has said that we have seen some like this free movement in the European Union countries. Yes, there is that free movement of goods and services, people, whichever way they want to move to. Within that, as long as you're from Scotland, Wales, France, whichever, as long as it's within the European Union, there's that free movement, but does not guarantee any individual from certain state to go and commit a crime in another state and get out of it scot-free. It's like now tuseme, we usually entertain our watoto wa majirani kwa manyumba zetu. Mtoto wako kukojoa kwa nyumba is something, it means that you have not disciplined that much. That's why wamefanya that. But akona right because ni kwao. It's only that now you have to impose some disciplines on your kid. But sasa mtoto wa jirani amekuja amefanya that in the house. How does it? What inaleta picha gani as an individual? What picture does it bring? It's something that should not be entertained anywhere. That's why we usually teach our kids that when you go to someone's house, you have to behave. When also you are at your home, you have to behave. But we have seen some parents in this regard, our leaders or those in leadership or those leading us in different capacities, especially in our interior ministry. Not only the interior ministry, but also the immigration department. They have absconded their roles. But now as citizens, or as in a set of family, now if my mom or my dad have failed to enforce some issues, now I'm seeing my younger brother misbehaving, I have to step in. That's what us as Kenyans we are doing. Now that our leadership has failed in enforcing some measures, we are stepping in and saying that mtoto wa jirani hizi kuja kunye kwetu na tuangalie tuseme ni jambo la kawaida kwa sababu ndugu yetu mdogo alifanya hivyo kitambo. We cannot allow that. Same to other countries, they cannot allow that because we have given you free movement of goods and services and individuals. Now you utakuja uanze kufanya vitu zenye zifai in our country. They cannot allow that. Let's take that as an initiative, as citizens, that there's some issue that we cannot allow. And this thing has been seen, haijafanyika leo. Does not happen once, it's twice. And we have seen this, and we are blessed as a country to have more than 45 diverse individuals in communities in Kenya, and we are proud. We are brought together by our national flag. And I have never seen any issue when as a Kisi, when I go to do business in Meru, when I go to do business anywhere in the country. I get a better response. I've learned with these individuals. I've worked with every tribe in Kenya. But now, sometimes, let me be honest with you, and some of you have faced maybe this challenge. I've gone to Italy to do some shopping. But the experience I had there is because they have good quality things. It's because they are selling them at better prices. That's what made me to go there. But the reception, the way the individual is talking to you, it seems that you are an alien in from a different country, like, and you're like, "Hai, hapa ni Kenya kweli?" Kila mtu anakuangalia and you're like, "Hey, wow." But when you find them in your own places, they are much welcome, and you wonder what usually happens. And now when you are calling out that tabia, that character, and they are like, now you're attacking us, you want to send us back to what, where do you want us to go? We have been this. Why can't you behave when you go to someone else's house? You have to behave. Now, if those individuals came to Kenya to watch a match, to watch a game, why can't they behave? And if they have failed, why can't their cousins or their brothers tell them, ukienda kwa wenyewe, this is how you have to behave? We have to call them out for them to start behaving and start condemning. That's a bad character that you cannot entertain. So if our government has failed, we as citizens, there's some things that we have to enforce, that they must be respect for our country. Somebody did mention that hizi ni vitu ziletwe na colony. Okay, before colony, before the colonialism aspect came in, we used to have our own tribes. And we used to defend. There was to be wars between maybe the Luos and the Kisis, the Maasais and the Kisis, the Maasais and the Borana. They used to be there. It's in history. Even some cultures do practice through cattle rustling, which should not be entertained, because at this moment and at this age, something that should not be entertained. So we did see those aspects within our community. So when you say that, and we used to defend, every community used to defend the name of the community. That's why some communities have leaders. They have their own chiefdom that they are proud of, because those guys, either in one way, they used to defend the community against external attacks. So before we do that, let's also embrace now that we have something called countries. We have to defend them the way we used to defend our communities. So mtu akisema that those are some things brought by foreigners, no, it's our culture in us that shows that sometimes we have to defend a community to our utmost, that if a foreigner does this to a community, we have to stand up for our community. Same way you can stand up for yourself and for your family and for your community. Now you have to stand up for a country, that mtu asilete uchokozi ama mtu asidhulumu nchi yako. There's some things that you cannot entertain, like disrespect to our country, to our sovereignty. Hiyo ni kama kukojolewa, na hakuna mtu anaweza kubali kukojolewa kwa kichwa. So let's not entertain such characters, such behaviors, whether it's legal or not. If the government fails, citizens can take and say that there's some disrespect that you cannot entertain. The same thing you see now that somebody brought about the Europeans. You have seen UK, they are doing that. They're saying that immigrants are taking up their jobs. They are doing this and this. Now they're standing up, because this Sakai has been accused of various issues, and now the government has been defending these individuals. The government has been looting through that direction of immigrants. Now they have to stand up. We are seeing it in the US. We are seeing it in France. So when you say that, you have to give us some things that are not work statistics. Look at what's happening. Everybody's standing up. No, these things, if we continue entertaining them, they're going to affect us. Even the USA, now if you want to employ as a company in USA, you have to employ, if you want to employ immigrants or foreigners, you have to pay some amount. So let's not take these things for granted. This is our Kenya. We don't have any other Kenya, and we can't stand us having individuals respecting our country. We cannot entertain that. Let's think deep down that it's the same way you cannot entertain someone to disrespect you. It's the same way that we as Kenyans, we can't allow someone to disrespect our Kenya, especially when it's at our house, at our doorstep, someone that you have welcomed with open arms and now anaanza kukojolea. You cannot allow that. Let's not allow that. And as I finalize this, that let's always ensure that we are respectful to each other, and with that can be able to live in an harmonious community collectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mugambi, for your submission. Dr. Mufo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mandia, Pipita, and everyone. This is a subject that pretty much revolves around intolerance. And I think as human beings, we have portrayed high level intolerance to each other, people's identity, and therefore the question of balkanization and profiling sets in. And therefore, I will not be able to speak about it without really, looking at it from that angle. But for me, I think much as we are saying it's a stupid action by two stupid boys, then where is the broader line in terms of how much we have, diffused the level of profiling, the level of, perceiving others as better than others, or rather, embracing a single identity where we would say, yeah, we recognize you as a fellow human being and not a person who's a second citizen, second class citizen, or second class human being. And these lines, this also goes beyond in terms of how do we also relate it with each other. The Somalis, for example, want to identify themselves as Kenyans because they are inherently stayed in Kenya, and no one has a problem with that. But fine, why does it become a problem for me to date a Somali girl? We want also to be allowed to marry these women, so that we integrate, so that we share values, so that we share blood, so that we share offspring, so that indeed our identity is united at that level. So until we have a discussion where Hannah and Ali Hannah is telling us she's giving us her sisters and her daughters we marry, it is not yet about that time yet. But more importantly, there exists a systemic problem that we seek to ignore. The people say that Somalis have been perceived as Al-Shabaab, which they are not. Let me tell you, there is high-level synonymity between Al-Shabaab and a Somali. And that's why, for example, when the travelers, genuine Kenyans, travelers, are going to one part of the country, this time they're coming back, their buses are being hijacked and you are forced to recite certain verses of Quran in Somali, otherwise they don't gonna spare you alive. And that has happened. The massacre that has been perpetrated by Al-Shabaab, those people don't carry Kikuyu names. Those people don't carry Luo names. They come from somewhere. And the monster in Al-Shabaab has thrived because they have decided to live with it. Because it is not a menace to them, it is a menace to their neighbors. And that's why, for example, when some chiefs are being abducted from our country and taken to Somalia, the Somalis in Kenya are being involved to go and negotiate and they come back. Where are the two Cubans who came to as doctor medical practitioners to come and save our lives and improve our health facilities and our expertise here, that were abducted by the Somalis? Where are they? Why have these Somalis in the northeastern not intervened to the level they intervened when some of their own were abducted by the Al-Shabaab? I say this because somebody said he's not going to mention names. I'm going to mention names. Nduale.
Adan Duale, has been in record in this nation, having told the Somalis, do not bomb, do not detonate grenades, do not detonate explosives in Isli, because you're gonna kill one of your own, because you're gonna kill they're gonna kill the fella Somalis. If you go and explode them in Vika, nobody's gonna ask you. Those are words that have been uttered by a member of parliament who represent a certain group of people. And that is where the problem is. The problem is not about the boys trampling on the flags. It is because of the impunity that has been perpetrated by some of them. It is when Aden Duale tells you that he knows the people who've been financing the terrorist attack, including the attacks on Garissa University, where close to 100 people were killed because they don't carry certain identities by people who carry the names of that are synonymous with the Somali. The up to date, Aden Duale tells that he knows the people who did that, he knows the people who financed that, and he's never produced the names. That is where the bigger problem is. It is not about the little boys. The little boys, stupid as they are, yes, they have been shown the way by their fathers, their mothers, their sisters, the people who they looked up to, and they've never been told that is wrong what you're doing. Finally, as I conclude, I want to commend with totality the debate, or rather the speech that was given by Donald Trump yesterday. And it's about the highest time we think about the sovereignty and respect the same. When he was speaking, he was not speaking to Africans. When he was not speaking, he was not speaking to you. He was speaking to the Europeans, and he was speaking to the Americans. So he said, the European unions, I love you, I love your people, I love your nations. As beautiful as it is, you must protect your borders. Because if you don't do that, there's going to be infiltration by the illegal immigration. He was talking about them. So when now William Ruto today is being given all this hullabaloo about a speech he's going to give or give it, I don't care about it. William Ruto cannot command anyone's audience. He's talking about acquiring permanent seats in the AU, where everybody, progressive mind, including Donald Trump, wants to abolish it. You saw what happened to Donald Trump. He was walking on the escalator and then it stops. He went to speak, the teleprompter will not work. That is the level of disregard for a person of high class and high standard like Donald Trump, who's hosting you, and you just there going to lecture him that he gave you second-hand vehicles to fight a war in Haiti that does not involve you while you're killing your own children. Total waste of time. And Donald Trump, I think he should actually arrest William Ruto and take him to Hague right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Mofo, for your submission. Abdul Rahim, kindly
Yes,
go ahead.
thank you very much. Malia, thank you very much. Pepita, thank you for hosting us. First of all, it is very sad to hear some rhetoric coming from someone with the title of a doctor. I'm sorry to say so. I was thinking maybe he's going to bridge the gap that we're having now as Kenyans, because Kenyans do have Somali communities amongst them who are born and raised in Kenya, who have been here for centuries. Me, myself, I'm the fourth generation born in Kenya. I was born, raised in Nairobi. My dad, born, he was here in Nairobi in the 1970s, as a truck driver. My grandfather was born in Kenya. My great-grandfather was born in Kenya. All of them, one or another, have acquired their identity card. So it's very funny enough, him giving such rhetorics, because For me, I see frustration in us as a Somali community in Kenya because we have been so marginalized to the point whereby me myself, I've gone to northeastern like Nimenda Maratatu, if I can remember, only 3 times. I've never been there now as an adult life in my mid-30s. I've never gone there, born and raised there. Actually, I don't speak really good Somali. But now, me going for a vetting of ID card in a location level, mzee wa kijiji anieke kidole, in a divisional level, yeah, whereby NIS are there, DCI are there, intimidation, yeah. Sasa, to be honest and speaking really the way the Daktari was talking, we have been marginalized to the point whereby now we have to talk and prove that we are Kenyans. You know, it's very sad, eh? We have been marginalized to the point whereby lazima we prove our identity to be Kenyans, which is not okay. First of all, we condemn whatever happened, like in the strongest term possible, with the Kenyan flag. But as adults, we've gone to school, yeah. There's somewhere that all this started. It started at Kasarani, yeah. There's a lady who stepped and danced on the Kenyan flag, danced on it because we lost. And at that time, we were donning the Kenyan flag. Tulikuwa tumevaa jezi za Kenya, tunashabikia Kenya kama Wasomali. Unaona? So sahi that vijana wa Somali ambaye wadogo, there are kids that have done something which is horrible, and even we've condemned it. If you see the Somalis on nani, for us, hata mimi mwenyewe imeniudhi, anipata as a Kenyan imeniudhi, lakini I've heard someone saying if you go to Isli, they do this, why don't they want their girls to get married? Bro, we are two different people with two different cultures. Two different people with two different cultures. But with those different cultures, we are living amongst each other. Ukienda Isli, mwenye anauza mboga ni mtu anatoka Central. Mwenye ananunua ni mtu ametoka Northeastern. Tunakaa, actually the guy, my guy that I buy mboga from, actually we vibe a lot. Hatujai kuwa na hii upuzi yenye tuko nayo, it is Somalis are like this, Somalis are like that. No. Unaona? People are raised different. Ukienda sahi utoke hapa uende Masaini, you'll find people with different nani. If you go to Kajiado County, utapata mtu akona different tabia, different character. Unaelewa, utoke uende Kisumu, they are different. Utoke uende Marsabit, they are different. Utoke uende Mombasa, people are different with their different cultures. How they live among each other, they know best. But I cannot come here today nikwambia because wewe ni Mkikuyu, I can profile you as Kikuyu, nianze kukwambia you do this, you do that. No, I cannot. Unaelewa, we are all Kenyans. We are all protected under the same constitution. And I'm sorry to say this, Daktari, the rhetorics you have given is so tribal na ni mbaya sana. You have a very good nani of a doctor. That means you are very learned. You are very learned for you to spew hatred. You understand? You are very learned to spew hatred on one community. The amount of marginalization we have gone through as the Somali community, someone that has not even stepped in Mandera, anakalishwa anachukuliwa interview, ndo apatiwe national ID, unaona, ndo apatiwe a passport, it bothers, inatusumbua, unaona. So you need to come up with idea to bridge the gap. You understand? Understand the other community, unaona. If you go to some places in central Kenya, there are some people who don't speak Kiswahili, bro. Literally, they will rap their way out. They don't even know what you're talking about. If you go to the deep end of Nani, of Nyanza, there are some people who don't speak Kiswahili. Go to Masai land, you'll find a mama looking at you and asking you, what are you saying? With a facial expression that they don't even understand Kiswahili. But for us, if we don't talk Kiswahili, like usimrudi kwenu. Bro, if you look at the northeastern part, ukipita Project Elapset, all the way Marsabit, all that part is the northeastern part of Kenya. You'll find that there are some people that are hata wajui serikali ni nini. True, they don't even know what the government is. They don't even know hawajuagi ukawa kuna serikali. Unaona, they live ndani, they're herders, they're nomads, they live ndani, they don't even know there's a government. They live among each other and marry each other. lugha ya Kiswahili hata they won't know. Unaona? And I commend the government now that wametengeneza barabara and it's really going inside the nani. It will bring people a bit closer and open people's eyes. At least, daktari, you'll travel to Northeastern and see how those people, how lovely they are. Si unakaa Nairobi and then unakuwa na selective nani mindset. These people are terrorists. These people are Al-Shabaabs. Bro, I have got friends who served in nani fighting Al-Shabaab. What the hell are you talking about, boss? I have friends who have been in the front line fighting those guys in the army. Unaona? We have police officers who are Somali from Northeastern. Wamekewa bomb, it is in the news. Wamelipuliwa na vitu wamekewa kwa barabara wakiwa wanasafiri. It is there. The nani is there. Hakuna watu leo wanasumbuka if anything happens, because if you go to Northeastern now kuna curfew. People have to go home by 6, 7. Do you think those people are living their best lives? Wali uko hapa, those guys are walimu hawana. Unaona? So what terrorism does divide and rule. Wanataka mkuwe na mindset ya exclude one community, one community wako excluded so that they can recruit them. Wanekuwa those guys are marginalized, wakuje wajoin wao. You are supporting actually them. You segregating us and you making us look like we're second class citizens. We are not Kenyans. Sahi vijana wengine wangekujua ambaye now they are depressed, hawana kazi, wakujua na hao watu. Unaona hao watu hata wapendi, wanasema nyinyi ni Al-Shabaab. That's how people get recruited and you're supporting it. For heaven's sake, and you're a doctor. Yeah. So let's have sober mind. Let's talk it out. Tukuwe na akili ambaye we can discuss things. We can have discussion. See tuongee na discussion in terms of hatred. And it's the same thing that, I'm sorry to say so, the former deputy president stood in the US and said terrorists are being given ID cards. So you want to tell me the resident of Mandera County are terrorists? The residents of Wajir counties are terrorists? The resident of Garissa County are terrorists? The resident of Marsabit are terrorists? Turkana, they are terrorists? They are not. Most of them are watu wamemaliza shule, wanataka kuja downtown Kenya, wakuja watafute university, wa enroll, some of them to become teachers, nurses, doctors. Yeah. So live amongst community to understand them. And there was a point that I think Mugambi made. Ukienda Isli, and he's a lawyer. And I think lawyers wanaitananaga learned friends. You're supposed to be so learned for you to be called a learned friend. I'm not a learned counsel. But as a learned friend, someone who has read the Constitution, you cannot come useme hawa watu watakikuona kuna venye wanakuongelesha. Everybody has umefundishwa communication skills ukienda campus. Actually, that's the first nani utapatiwa. Common course ambaye every single courses they do. Why are you taught? Why are you taught communication skills? Because people are from different communities. They don't know how to communicate. Some people, they don't know how to talk to people. They don't have public relations. They don't know how to talk it out. They don't have PR. Hawajui kuongea na customers vizuri. They don't know what customer relation is. Some are just business-minded people. And some people, they don't even care. The business is not there. So it's either you buy or you don't. They'll talk to you the way they want. But if you find the real owners of those shops in Isili, are the sweetest people. Mpaka watakwambia unataka chai ya ngamia, maziwa ya ngamia ukunywe. What do you want? Do you want? Unaelewa? They'll help you. So, and I have an ani. There's a day tulikuwa Jamia Mall. And unfortunately, there's a lady that alikuwa hedhi yake imempata katikati ya barabara. Do you know what the Somali men did there? Walifunga duka moja, they went bought her clothes, wakampatia, wakafunga duka, akavaa akatoka. You want to tell me those people are terrorists? Kuna watu sasa wanachangia mzee ambaye si Msomali, guys from Machakos, amekuja akaomba usaidizi asaidiwe mtoto wake alipewe fees. Ako kuchangiwa almost 30,000 at the moment, by kesho mtoto wake arudi class anadaiwa from last term. So let's stop spewing hate, daktari. Let's have sober mind. Don't talk on religion matters on nani. Let's have sober conversation as men, as men and women of this country, as people who have gone to school. Kibaki helped us by giving us free education for a reason, so that we don't have this mindset tumetoka nayo, umeambiwa Somalis are bad people, unafikiria Somalis are bad people. Sasa leo mimi nikisema back in the day in the central Kenya, Mungiki used to do this and that, nikuje niseme Kikuyus are bad people, mimi ndakuwa na make sense gani, seriously speaking? while these people are hardworking people, wanafanya kazi, they're business minded. Siwezi kuja niseme Kalenjin are bad people, siwezi kuja niseme Kabila ni watu wabaya. In every basket of an apple kuna moja ni mbaya. Unanipata? Hatuwezi sema because one community in a politician ni mwizi, tuseme community mzima hawa ni waizi. We can't. So I think mine is that let's stop spewing hate. Let's have conversation that will bridge the gap. We condemn the boys, what they have done, and they even give an apology. The Somali embassy, I've seen it today, they've given an apology. So let's have conversation with sober mind. Let's not put emotions in. Because everybody in their end part, they are sacrificing so much for this country. Every single community in this country, from the smallest community to the biggest community in this country, they are all making a sacrifice for this country. And we want a better Kenya, we want a better future, of course. But segregation and hatred and spewing hate won't take us anywhere as a country. If you want this country to go forward, if you want this country to let's stop that tribal we have. For me, nimelelewa na kila kabila. Every single kabila nimelelewa nayo, and I give every one of them respect. Because everybody has their own struggle. Every morning they wake up. Mimi nikiamka kutafuta, kila mtu anaamka kutafuta. Unaona? So everybody has their own struggle. Let's respect one another. Let's not disrespect someone's community. Mtu mmoja amekosea, the kids wamekosea, washikwe wapelekwe kotini. We don't mind. Let them answer for it. They don't represent the Somali community. They represent their nonsense. Unaona? Na asifunzwa na mama, ufunzwa na ulimwengu. They have not been taught in their home how to respect people. They'll be taught by the streets how to respect the country and to respect people. Same thing. Let's put the energy on the lady that amekanyagia flag, not only the Somali kids. Because if you as a Kenyan citizen unakanyaga flag yako, which is your pride and joy, what do you think watu nje watakuja kufanya? What do you think Tanzanians do? What do you think will do? Kesho tukiwa na conflict, tunacheza grao na wao, do the same thing because tumewaonesha sisi ndo tunakanyaga flag yetu. Unaona? Tumeonesha sisi ndo tunadharau nchi yetu. Unaona? And the national unity ni flag. Flag is a very strong Unaona? IDs pia sisi kupatiwa ni haki yetu. Unaona? Ni haki ya kila Mkenya kupata ID under the constitution. Every Kenyan has the right to get a national ID. And there's a reason why we have the intelligence services and we have the DCI and we have the security organs in this country. After everything that happens in this country today, they know it. Even the space we're holding here now, they know we're holding a space. Unaona? So I don't know what is this.
1 minute.
Okay, I don't know what is the scare of the Somali being given ID. I don't know what is the scare about it, because for me, watu wengi your home Ocha hawana ID, to be honest with you. They cannot work. They cannot go to university. And I think let's bridge the gap. Let's have unity and let's stop spewing hate. That's what I'll just conclude. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Abdul Rahim. Let's go to Sham, kindly. Sham, are you there? Okay. Let's go to differently abled. Differently abled, go ahead.
So hi guys, thanks for the space. Hey Maria, leo umetulia. Congratulations, Japonji, Pipita, everyone. So my take on this issue is a situation whereby we need to kind of understand why Kenyans are jittery, because you see, it's not even about if you look at it in a crucial manner, it's not even about the flag. It's we have been having issues with our neighbor, and one of the issues also, I usually say that I think now I've added some another community to the Israelis, and now I'm thinking about Somalis, because there are people who now, but for them, or I'm assuming, I'm not saying that some of them unapata they have their own agenda. They are their own community within a community. So you know it's about how like people that can trust against you being and you we are together. It's a thing about allegiance, how people like sometimes even when I talk to some Kenyans in America, I don't know if I'm talking to a Kenyan or an American, you know, because there's this kind of shift in allegiance whereby somebody now starts feeling more of American than they are Kenyan. So they even, in fact, I even asked a Black American another time we were discussing, and I asked her, so America has declared war on, she was Nigerian. So American has declared war on Nigeria, and you're in the army. Do you fight? So she's a Black American, but she traced her roots and all that kind of. She's now attached to Nigeria, so she kind of has investments and all that. So I was like also wondering, are you going to fight with Uncle Sam? You know, so that kind of thing. So who do you stand with? That's the kind of question. Also, I think Somalis need to, or Kenyan Somalis need to like understand, because sometimes we don't know, like, are you going to stand with us? Are you going to, like the way Nani was saying about the Garissa thing and all this other thing, especially security. If you look at the insecurity situation in the East Africa region, there are several things that I wanted to point out that are happening. In fact, the one of the biggest problems we have right now is actually the insecurity, because we can have our fun and games, but when we are surrounded with things that can affect our life, life and death kind of situations, we have to be serious, because look at how things are going when there is conflicts in the. You have conflict in Sudan, you have conflicts in Ethiopia, you have conflicts in Somalia itself with the Al Shabaab, you have the Jubaland militia, you have the like the RSF. The other day they were being hosted here. So these are issues that are very serious, you know, and it's also about Kenyans having dropped the ball in terms of how we diplomatically deal with such conflicts, because there's an assessment whereby instead of being mediators now, we are turning into combatants as a country. So I think we need to understand how we should how we need to balance the region, and it's a interesting way. It's an interesting like situation, because it needs a lot of wisdom. You see, so you have the Sudan issue. South Sudan is also having its own issues. You have Ethiopia having issues. You have Somalia having issues. You have DRC having issues, and you know, all this could spill over and become a problematic situation. So I think the East African community needs to try and have some a bit more diplomatic and also if security muscle, because I think there's a report whereby the East African community standby force has requires something like 5 million, is it $50 million? Yeah, that's $50 million. That's around 5 billion Kenya shillings. So I think there's something that needs to be done, and I think we are not doing it in the right way, and things might get really hot, especially with the global issues, talks of World War III and all this kind of thing. We need to try and understand even the humanitarian aspect, because if you talk about things like in fact, the Sudan conflict, they're saying is actually worse than the DRC one because it's the humanitarian aspect. There's a lot more displacement of people. So throughout the region, you're looking at around if things go the way they are, then like 30.
Can you hear differently abled anybody?
No.
Oh, go ahead. Differently abled. It's like he has dropped. Okay. Mohammed, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, all of you. Thank you for hosting us today. I have some conversation on this matter. Please keep quiet. First, I will talk about the community in Northeastern. I have been there. I've been working there for over 2 years. So I know their behaviors in and out. And on the matters of this motion, allegation of immigration, these people, they are just here in Kenya as they are. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. What they are saying is that we are here in Kenya just for fun. We are not Kenyans. And what they mostly say, the most part of Northeastern region, it's not Kenya. That is they are saying. Mostly Wajir, Mandera, come here, Garissa, back to Moyale, the part of Ethiopia border. These people, they have their says that whatever happening in Kenya, it does not concern Somalis. It's not part of their culture or part of their behaviors. No matter whether you are Muslim, whatever happened to you, as long as you are Kenyan but not a Somali, they are not part of it. So, honestly speaking, we are hosting them because we were doing favor to them as a East African community because they are now East African community members. So we are just hosting them. We are giving them the facility that they can do whatever they want in this country. We are giving them the freedom, but they have overworked the freedom, and whatever they are doing, it's a bit inching. You can imagine whatever happening in Palestine now, though it's a bit out of Africa, but that the history brings back whatever is going on in Kenya recently with this Somali community. They are Muslim, I am a Muslim, but I condemn with highest standard I can't even explain. They can even call you a black Muslim with a nywele ngumu, Mwislamu nywele ngumu. So whatever they believe in, it's different from whatever we are believing in. They are taking Islam as part of their culture. But what is truth about it? Islam does not reflect what Somalis are. Islam is different from Somalis' culture. They have their culture, they have their way of living, and that's the truth. There is no way a Muslim is being taught to disrespect someone or even a rule of law in another country. There is no way. There is no way a Muslim can broad daylight hurt someone who is even innocent to any, even a creature. That is not Islam. That's our Somali culture. I saw it in Isli. The guy was just passing, asking for a way. Pave me a way, please. I'm in a hurry. I'm hurrying somewhere. And the guy was beaten up. In fact, he was taken to hospital at a very critical condition. And he had a police car. So whatever happening, let's not relate it to Islam. Let's relate it to Somali community. Those guys, I cannot say some, but most of them, they have the same behavior. They are behaving the same. No matter whatever you are doing, they will like you if you are doing favor to them. But they will backbite or speak behind you when you are not in their favor. So, whatever we are going to do with these people, it's not even part of the government because the government promotes these kind of behaviors. Once we could have reflected it back by the time when President Kibaki was in a position, this thing now couldn't have happened the way it is going to happen right now. These people are becoming arrogant. These people are talking ills about us. These people are talking ills about the country itself, and they are there saying they are not part of Kenya. We are not Kenyan, we are Somali by nature, and Somali is our home. But telling them to go back to their country, it's like we are abusing them. Why are you not proud to the country you are? If you are saying that you are supposed to be in your country, why don't you go back to Somali and live the peaceful the way you are living here in Kenya? Hey, please, can you keep quiet? We have been giving them the privileges. Schools are being built in their region. Security is being beefed up in their region. Some of our even brothers are being died. They are dying in their region, protecting them each and every day. I have been in Garissa. I think I'm 1 month old now, back to Mombasa, but I've been in Garissa. Those guys do not take that as a privilege. Those guys, they are very, very arrogant. They even dissatisfaction. They don't even want to be protected. I think it's high time now the security agencies take measures on this because it's not a matter of being favored to anyone. Yes, I have heard that there are some Somalis who are being born in Kenya, raised in Kenya, long time ago. They are part of Kenya. But the culture of Somalism is in you. Not only the ones who came to Kenya as refugees, no. The ones who were born in Kenya, the culture of Somalism, they are in you. You guys, they are very arrogant. And I'm speaking from the word of experience. I've been working with you over 3 good years in Northeastern. How come someone tells you that nywele ngumu? What do you think special you are with your soft hair? What is that even concern about it? Are you better than me? Are you better creature than me? These things should end, and not only end the way it is going softly. We should take it the hardest way. And if the government failed to do so, whatever happened in South Africa, it will reflect back in Kenya because things are worsened. Imagine somebody just in a broad daylight abusing our national flag. If someone can abuse a national flag, whom do you think a person can do to you? We have a lot. We need to do a lot. I have heard the Minister of Interior, Mr. Kipchumba Murkomen, talked about the issue of those guys. But let me tell you, there was I think 2 months ago, there was a lady who was forcefully married to a Somali guy. The guy was very old that the lady refused. The lady comes from the camp of Dadaab, and she was married a mile away in Wajir, inner part of the Wajir. So she refused the guy. But due to that refusal, the guy went ahead and stabbed that lady to death. And up to now, I can tell you, the guy was taken for a hide and no action has been happening because I have been there. I have been there, not the word of being told. Nothing happened. The guy ran away from the place he used to stay because they are even not in a permanent building. They were just those vehemers. Yeah. He ran away, and up to now, nothing had happened. So I know, even if a week or there will be no much intelligence on these things, these two boys who did that shit, they will be taken back to Somalia, hidden, and nothing will happen to them. So it's like they are doing shit on our country and taken back to their country, enjoy life until things get better. They were taken back to where they have been. That is what they are doing. We need to take action. This is the high time we need to take action. And if even the issue of even vetting, I don't think it can work. I don't think it can work. We should, if possible, let them stay in their camp. If they came here as a refuge, give them a refugee ID card and stay in their camp. Not let them tolerate with us in towns. They are taking Isli as it is Somalia. And that's true. I have been in Isli. They're like, we are in our own country. They don't think that that is even part of Nairobi. It's Nairobi CBD. Because the difference of Isli and Nairobi is the Nairobi River. These guys, they have to learn a lot. They need to be taught. And if not in school, then we have to take action and let them know that we are Kenyans and we made the rule and we are being ruled by law. We have our own constitution that guides us. But they are coming with their own rules. They can do whatever they want because they have money. I think that the reasoning capacity they are saying, they have money so they can do whatever they want because the government only need money. You can take them to police station and compromise the police, give them some cash, and since the rule, our government system is corrupt, nothing will go. That is what they are doing. They have their community where I have a case with one of them who insulted me and I took him to Mombasa police station. The guy was requested to attend he was supposed to be taken to court. So they bailed him out. And the following, it was like they bailed him out on Monday. So on Friday, was supposed to attend a court. He refused to report to the court. The court gave us a warrant of arrest. In fact, I went there as a person. I forced the officer who was in charge to take that warrant of arrest to arrest the guy. He was harsh on me. Like, Are you taught me my job? Do you think I don't know what I'm doing? And I was like, are you an officer? Whatever you are doing is right to what you are supposed to do. So whatever I'm seeing, whatever I'm speaking, I have an experience of it. And during that time, to up to date, nothing has happened. The court issued the warrant of arrest. Everything was there. All the papers are there in court chamber, but nothing had happened. So these people, we need to give them a lesson to learn. A lesson to learn, and this lesson should be taken by Kenyans, because even our government has some weaknesses. The weaknesses of our government is that they do not take action seriously. They are being compromised with kitu kidogo, and that's what makes things worse. Because if you get someone who can pay kitu kidogo, that guy will be walk freely, will be worshipped. Kenya, we were worshipping money. Whatever happens, if you have some cash, then you can walk free. You can walk even upper the law of Kenya. Because let me tell you, if those guys maybe their fathers are belong to the Somali community, those people sit each and every day. They discuss their things, they discuss their issues, and they take their issues to the leader, their representative, who takes the most of their ideas to the president, the grievances to the president. So if their parents are part of that community, let me tell you, nothing will happen. We were going to be kuchukuliwa hivi, kuregeshwa hivi, na nothing will be talked about it. So we need to take action as Kenyans. We need to shout out. We need to speak it out. Everybody knows that we are annoyed with this action. We are annoyed with whatever they have been doing. I have a lot to speak, but I think time can.
We have 13 minutes. We have 13 minutes. Kabla ukwe na mambo mengi, Mohammed. Tuko na 13 minutes.
It's okay. Let me just end that story. But we have a lot to speak about these people.
Malia, I want Abdul Rahman, Dr. Mofo, and you in the shortest time possible, as we call it a night tonight. Tumeenda hadi kesho. Sijui kama mnaningojea kwa space kesho pia.
That's a good one. Hey, Peter, thank you. I'd like to address Mohammed. Mohammed, the reason watu wanasemaga Northeastern, like, there's people there that have been marginalized. They don't feel they're the part of the country. Imagine for 60 years, mtu anaona tu Maram Road, anaona Rough Road for 60 years since independence. So hata wakitoka huko wakisema wanakuja Nairobi, wanasema tunaenda Kenya. Why? Is because they have never been part of the conversation. But now, since the government is making them part of the conversation, and they're being part and parcel of this conversation, kwa sababu ile barabara watu walikuwa wanachongwa nao Ruto actually is being built na iko kuingia Mandera County. It's actually on construction, to be honest. Hiyo ni kitu ya kwanza. Alafu kitu ya pili, Mohammed, don't generalize. Mi siwezi sema watu wote wa Mombasa walikuwa na support pwani si Kenya. Siwezi sema you are part of that Kahoot. Siwezi sema ulikuwa na support Abu Drogo because Abu Drogo alikuwa na support, anaambia vijana waende Al-Shabaab. I cannot say that. Siwezi sema Mombasa kila mtu alikuwa na support pwani si Kenya, eti pwani itolewe wakue peke yao. That's another thing. The other thing, unaongea about lobbying. As we will lobby for us to get roads, we will lobby our leaders and with our resources to go for us to pate barabara. I will lobby. Sahi, if not for nani kuingia kwa serikali, unadhani barabara, that road will have been built from Nyali to Kilifi, dual carriage. Do you think the special economic zone ingejengwa? It's because you are lobbying. There's something in government called lobbying for development. Our leaders, what they're doing, they're lobbying for development. And we have the right to lobby because we have been marginalized for 60 years since independence. Pia sisi tunataka kuona lami. Me, my dad, since he was born in 1955, before even we gain independence, hajaiona lami. Alikuwa anamalizia lami Garissa mwisho. Na ni lami moja yenye mvua ikinyesha inabeba. So at least we are seeing something concrete going on. We feel as if we are part of conversation ya Kenya. So kama unataka tukue marginalized, I'm really sorry. Hiyo hatuwezi kubali. The other thing is usieke, the way I told you, usifanye kabila moja ama mtu moja amekufanyia makosa wakafanya kila mtu. Somalia wangapi wanaishi Mombasa boss? Wanafanya kazi Mombasa, ni wangwana, ni wazuri, wanasaidia, wanaswali, wanaomba, wanaishi na majirani wa Kristo vizuri. Why don't you talk about the good things of the community so that you show there's a good part about people rather than venye nilisema, kama wewe ni mtu unauza fruits, in that basket of apple that you have, lazima kuna mbili tatu ni mbaya. It is a must in a community. Yeah, let's say you're living for example in Mombasa, unaishi Bondeni ama unaishi Nyali ama Old Town. I'm giving you an example of Old Town. Old Town, vijana wangapi wanabeba panga Sheikh? Vijana wangapi wanapigana kisu? Si wa Somali wangapi? Tuseme sasa Waswahili wote na wale Waarabu wote wanaishi huko na Wahindi ni waizi, wanabeba kisu, wanauana, wanaibia watu, ni mateja, wanauza. Hatuwezi sema boss. Unaona, ni venye siwezi sema sahi Wasomali wote kutoka Northeastern hawapendi watu nini, hapana, kwa sababu ya watu wawili watatu umepatana nao. I cannot say that the people of Old Town, all of them are thieves, all of them are gangsters, ama vijana wa Kisauni, siwezi. Sasa wewe unaweka kila kitu general, Somalis are this, Somalis are that. If you want to come with that mindset, I can come with the same mindset. Nikwambie, mbona huko kwenu nyinyi waizi mnadungana kisu? Wewe pia ni mwizi basi Muhammad. Siwezi sema hivyo. Wewe ni mtu unafanya kazi, you are hard working, you've gone to Garissa to work, you've come back to Mombasa, you're still maybe working, I don't know about you. But all I can say is I wish you well. I don't wish hatred on you. I wish you success. I'm Somali and I'm wishing you success. Mwenyezi Mungu akufungulie riziki mahali huko, upanuke, uendelee. Usiweka tu chuki kwa nafsi yako boss, utaendelea inshallah. Asanteni.
Dr. Mofo, go ahead.
Thank you, Malia. Malia, in 1988, there was a flight that was coming from London, Heathrow, headed to JKF International Airport in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. That was brought down by Muammar Gaddafi. Years later, one of the national intelligence member or officer in the government of Libya was prosecuted and ultimately convicted. Years later again, Muammar Gaddafi agreed to give compensation to the families of 270 people aboard the Panam Flight 103, $3 billion in compensation. I am not talking about the Kenya Somalis. I'm talking about the Somali, and I'm talking about the Somalia country. They owe this country too much. Somalia has become like a Bermuda Triangle where criminals hide and never be identified, where people are abducted from these countries and never come back. I've spoken about the Cuban doctors. They disappeared just like that. A Bermuda Triangle, a mystery that is never identified. I don't know what happened in that place. Malia, I'm talking at a time when we are talking about so many people who have been massacred by people who've crossed the border from Somalia, and they go back and they don't know, no one knows where they are, and no one who's there. Only Aden Duale knows who they are, and he cannot tell us. Only Aden Duale knows who finances, and he cannot tell us. Only Aden Duale will tell them, do not donate explosives in Isili, go take them to Deka. These are the things I'm talking about. I'm talking about the hypocrisy, the impunity in the leadership. I'm not talking about the common person like Abdallah or whoever it is. I'm not talking about that person. And when Abdallah tells us that we are two different people, yes, that's what we're talking about. But you won't tell us we are the same. I'm saying let us be the same. Let us integrate. Let me marry your sister. Let me impregnate your Somali girls. Then I feel like we are together. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking to kill them. I'm talking we make things happen between us. We intermarry. Those are the things I'm talking about. People who love each other marry each other. That's what I'm talking about, right? Marriage is founded on love. Let love blossom. You people, stop covering the beautiful women of Somalia, which is high-level discrimination about your female, about your ladies, covering them with hijab. Let them wear like decent people. Let them not burn in the scorching sun with hijab, and you are wearing vests and t-shirts. Those are the things we're talking about. Those cultures that you're using to dehumanize your own, and you don't want us to talk about them. Let us be in a position to see the beauty, the hips, the butts, how big the beautiful they are. That's what we're talking about. And when I spoke about compensation, I'm talking about compensation of 100 people being killed by Somalia, crossing from Somalia in the name of Al-Shabaab terrorism. The Garissa University students need to be compensated with their families. So stabilize Somalia as a country, pay us compensation, and the years of hospitality and kindness we've given the Somalia, not Kenyans who identify as Somalia, the Somalis from Somali. Those are the people I'm talking about. Unless you and me are talking about different things. And then you can tell us the cultures are different. And then that is where the difference is, where you identify the difference. That's where the barrier is. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Mofo. Yasa, go ahead.
I think I said I'm
Yeah.
gonna end it at 12:30. Earlier, that's gonna be the last submission
Hello?
for tonight before I end the show.
Yeah, go ahead, Yasa.
Okay. Thank you so much. And apologies, I raised my hand late, but I just wanted to respond on the last three speakers, because the conversation about the Somalis and the conversation about the Muslims has always been mixed in this country. And people who are Muslims but are not Somalis have always found themselves in trouble. And personally, I think, Dr. Mofo, I can say you're out of order by saying, let us mix. You know, you cannot force someone to give you his daughter if he doesn't want. You cannot also force the lady to be with you if they don't want. So let's not mix other things and what the situation is happening. Remember, so many people have been abducted the way you've talked about. There has been so many people who've been put in jail because of countering violence and extremism, and the issue of youths being streamlined or being linked with Al-Shabaab is a real thing. And the conversation that is happening in Kenya, sorry to say, it is very, very wrong, na inafanya jamii fulani inaonekana ni kama iko katika taabani. We have the East African community trajectory, where Somalia is the last and the last born country that joined in 2024. So we need to embrace this country because they've been fighting for the rest of their lives. These people know guns. It is the same way as Juba and Congo. The situation that is happening in our country, we should be happy, and we should be looking at how do we make other people who are external better. Because I feel like Kenyans tunaona ni kama tunajua sana, tunaona ni kama tumefika sana, but we forget in 2012 it is Kenya which invaded Somalia. We took part in taking and messing with other country. Tusikue kama another country that is in the West. We should be embracing right. We are talking about Kasongo. We are talking about Ruto must go, but we are really behaving and bringing the tribalism factor even before the elections. Sahi, we are talking about Somalis, but we are forgetting in 2 years' time or 2 months, we are going to speak about you're a Luya, you are a Luo. So let's be objective personally, and let's look at what drives this country. We have the East African Continental Free Trade Area, which requires us to have free movement of people in East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, Somalia, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. How will we do that? We need to push for free tariffs in these countries so that our economy can grow, so that authoritarianism can be able to be reduced. How will we do that if we keep on hating one another? Imekuwa Burundi most of the time when they come to Kenya, we talk about it. Now it has been Somalis. Who is next? So let us be the big brothers. Let us have the democracy that we wish for, and let us push for these countries that do not have democracy. They don't have the rights. Women cannot even give nationality to their children in Somalia. Let's push for this. We have Samia who is messing up Tanzania. Let's push for this. We have for those people who are older than me in 1990s or 80s, Kenya and Uganda have had a very hard tasks. Personally, my family, some of them were arrested and they're called by a special branch because ulipatikana tu umevuka boda ya Uganda. So these things, when I hear Kenyans fighting about it, and instead of learning and embracing this, I feel disappointed. So I hope we can be able to look at something. Na kama nimekosea mtu, my apologies. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pipita. I don't have any comment. Back to you to close.
Right. Myself, I don't know, man. I've been here from 6 p.m. I think I'll be back here tomorrow from again 4 or 5 p.m. to actually today at 4 p.m. for yet another suicide. Actually, it's gonna be our last suicide prevention conversation. See you later on in the day. I know there are people who wanted to talk to us. Let us meet towards the end of the day at 4 p.m. for yet another conversation. But until then, be safe and be blessed. Remember to subscribe to Home Run and PP on the Tipja line. 0721948229 is the way to support us as well. Have a great night and be safe and have a great day ahead. Bye bye.